An investigation about a male senator using the women's restroom at the state capitol is complete. Actually, it's been complete for 3.5 months, but we're just now getting the details released to us. Kyle will be along momentarily to talk about that timing. But first, I sat down with Senator Beth Martinez-Humenek about the complaint she filed about the man in the stall next to her. We just got a copy of an investigative report concluding that Democratic Senator Daniel Kagan used a private women's-only restroom at the state capitol on 3 occasions in 2017, but not this past session. It was this past session when Republican Senator Beth Martinez-Humenek filed a claim about seeing Kagan in the bathroom with her in 2017.
It validates, the complaints that I had heard about, not just mine, but things that had happened. The behavior hadn't changed with other people.
In April, I asked Kagan about the tips we had received that he had used the women's restroom the year before.
I have acknowledged that there was one occasion when I mistakenly entered the women's bathroom at the Senate.
One time?
One time, yes.
Were there multiple times besides the one that you've admitted to?
No.
The report found sufficient corroboration and support by neutral witnesses that Kagan used the women's bathroom 3 times. Martinez-Humenek filed her complaint a year after the incident. The complaint came at the same time Senate Democrats were calling for an expulsion vote on Republican Senator Randy Baumgardner, who had been accused of sexual harassment. She told me she came forward when she did because she had heard it had happened to other people. This investigation was completed June 5th. Martinez-Humenek tells me she didn't see the report until last month. I still wanted to know why we're just seeing it now.
You have this in your hands today because we have had some issues in the Capitol this past year with harassment claims being brought forward. There is no accountability on the other side of the aisle for a person who has actually been shown to have this behavior on more than one occasion, but who won't own up to it.
Martinez-Humenek tells me she's seeking an apology from Senator Kagan. I reached out to him today, but he has not yet returned my phone call. The timing of the report's release didn't just make me pause, it made Kyle pause on his day off. He has some thoughts on this topic and provided them from an undisclosed location, which may or may not be his home office.
The Republican complaint against Democratic Senator Daniel Kagan came at a time when there were other Republicans in the state legislature who were under fire for sexual harassment. The Democrats said Republicans were just looking for cover. Republicans insisted that this was not about protecting their own backsides. And let's hope that that's true. Because we should all be able to agree that weaponizing sexual harassment and sexual misconduct claims, that isn't just unseemly, that's dangerous. That's dangerous for a future victim who needs to be believed, and that's dangerous for anybody who might someday be falsely accused. So, good thing that Colorado Senate Republicans were not playing politics with the timing of their accusation against Senator Kagan. But then wouldn't you know, that confidential report, which has been completed for months, is just now being released as more Republicans in the state legislature come under fire for allegations that they made insensitive comments about the situation involving Judge Kavanaugh and the accusations against him. Quite the coincidence, don't you think? The Republican senator who made the complaint against her Democratic colleague, Senator Kagan, says there's no good time to release a report like this. Are we honestly to believe that? Whatever you think of Senator Kagan's behavior, whatever you decide was his motivation, let's not pretend that the complaint against him just happened to be made at the most politically opportune time for his opponents, and is just now being released at a politically opportune time for his opponents. This goes beyond clumsy, transparent politics. It's really an insult to your intelligence.
Our next question comes from a viewer named Angie. I've heard that they're not going to mail out those blue books this year for the election issues. Is it true? And if so, will it be possible to get one somewhere? Angie also says, us older boomers are still going to be around for a while. Well, older boomer, what you heard is not true. We reached out to Legislative Council, which is a group at the Capitol that puts together the Blue Book, and that thick, scary-looking, oh my gosh, what are we going to be voting on guide will be mailed to every registered voter. They'll be sent out by October 5th. And for you younger boomers, there'll be a copy online. And put those phones away for a second, younger boomers. Let's talk about mail. Not email, snail mail. The kind that comes in that box outside your home? Well, that snail is creeping a bit slower for those who rely on a post office in Denver. As Sonia Gutierrez discovered, water and snails don't mix.
Yeah, they don't got it. They don't got it.
If you're one of the 1,000 people who come to this makeshift post office for your mail,
this is the shortest I found this line.
you know it takes time.
It's about 45 minutes.
That's not the worst part for Sherry Fabergé.
Well, I have a check that's been over in the other building.
A check that's been trapped in the old post office building since it closed down after water started leaking in.
I hope they can find it today.
That was about 2 weeks ago. Workers weren't allowed back into the leaky post office until this past weekend.
Yeah, I had to go through the whole tray.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now they're digging through 53 bins of mail to find the one a customer is waiting to pick up. And this is the way it will be until they get to move back into the original post office.
So we're working through those issues, but that'll be resolved very soon.
Spokesman David Rupert says work to fix the leaky roof doesn't go through them.
We work through the building owner. We don't own the building, so we have to notify them. It takes a little bit of time, but everybody's moving very quickly despite all the steps.
The post office leases the building from a company called Nationwide Postal Management, who owns 14 Colorado post offices. The building's former owner, Leonard Spodek, made a lot of news in the 90s and was known as a Dracula landlord in New York City. They dealt with lawsuits and plenty of bad press for years. That owner has since died, and his son is now in charge. The company hopes they can fix the building within the next few weeks.
That's why I don't understand the organization.
None of that is helping customers like Sherry find their mail. She's still waiting for that big check.
Yeah, how was it? Fine. I didn't have anything.
Sonia Gutierrez, 9 News.
As you might expect, asbestos was found in the walls and floors of the building, and because of that, the state requires a 10-day notification period before construction can start. The company says that once that's over, it should only take about up to 2 weeks to get the post office back on track and the snails moving again. A quick update on that lawsuit that Denver Transit Partners has filed against RTD about the A-line. RTD has withheld at least $6 million from DTP for not fulfilling contract requirements, like having to have those crossing guards and for design changes in order to meet state and federal requirements. DTP says state regulators are moving the goalposts when it comes to getting things set to go for the A and G lines, and DTP wants RTD to pay them back. And that's our taxpayer money. Starting way back in 1964, a landowner decided to light up a mountainside with a cross dedicated to his family. You've seen it. To this day, under new owners, that cross above Morrison is a common sight, except for the last 10 days. We sent our own Nelson Garcia to find why the cross lights have gone dark.
Driving just about anywhere around town, you can see a cross lit up at night above Morrison, till about 10 days ago.
Right there you can see a gray box. That's the cross part.
Tim Hartley
Doesn't look like a cross from the top.
is the caretaker of the Olinger Mount Lindo Memorial Park.
As they get up here and they didn't know there was a cemetery here.
A cemetery that sits just above the cross that's been unlit for 10 days now.
We believe it probably got hit by lightning. It happened after the big storms last week, and it went out after a lightning storm, so we feel that's what it was.
But for people across the metro, it was the subject of phone calls.
Why is the cross not lit?
To the offices.
Lit. Just noticed the other night. How long has it been off?
Of Olinger.
Off, and when do we anticipate it will be on again?
And Andrew Tisdale.
To us, that's very encouraging because that means it's a meaningful symbol for a lot of people, and it's noticed around the city. So we're definitely committed to keeping it working and running.
No matter the challenge.
Yeah, we have a problem with people shooting them out. You can see the bullet holes in this one here from the top.
Bullet holes from the top and from long range across the canyon. But lightning is the culprit.
Sucker's just cooked.
Knocking out the guiding light.
A lot of people view it as a religious symbol, but a lot more people just view it as a landmark or a guide a way around town.
It's nice to know that people still pay attention to it. I was born and raised here, and it was found my way home many a times by the cross.
For Next, I'm Nelson Garcia.
Perspective we don't always see. Those lights should be lit in a couple of days. A local company, Chris Electric, is donating parts and labor to fix the cross in the name of their late founder, Chris Serpes.
Hey, tomorrow's the first day of fall, pumpkin spice season. You know, cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, items that can and should be served year-round. Wait, what's that? Shut up and just let Danielle give us the weather? If you're going leaf peeping on Kenosha Pass, you better go before you go. And your good news. next.
Hi there, happy Friday. We are heading into a gorgeous weekend. If you're heading up to the high country, my gosh, the view is simply stunning. Jeanette capturing this great shot in Breckenridge. If you're doing any kind of leaf peeping this weekend, Mother Nature bringing us plenty of sunshine. You're staying here in town. It is going to be a hot one with daytime highs in the mid-80s for us tomorrow. The wind should simmer down just a bit tomorrow too. We're looking at plenty of sunshine and temperatures warmer back into the upper 80s, well above our average across eastern Colorado, with some 60s and 70s, a bit more pleasant up in the high country. Stormy skies off to our northwest, the southeast, but around Colorado, high pressure builds in, and that means we are in store for a really warm weekend ahead. 88 on Sunday. So yes, I know we officially welcome in the fall season on Saturday, 7:54 to be precise, but it's going to feel more like summer for you on Sunday. Finally, some changes arrive though early next week with a couple of storms that push in, as well as some cold fronts that'll help drop down our temperatures mid-70s. Seasonal on Monday, Tuesday backing into the mid-60s, mostly cloudy skies, some scattered showers possible. And then as we look ahead toward the rest of the week, all right, well, maybe the summer heat will make a comeback. Marshall?
Let's get back about my pumpkin spice rant. How about the, oh no, straight, okay.
You like it. The scones?
Year round,
coffees?
year round.
Okay,
End of
you
story.
do you.
All right. Here's another example, Danielle, to remind you that's not how you Colorado. Bathrooms, people. This is why we can't have nice things. Quite a few of you emailed us asking why the bathrooms are closed at Kenosha Pass. The U.S. Forest Service tells us it's because 10 grand is needed to clean and pump those toilets every year. Why does it cost 10 grand? Because people, not natives, keep throwing trash down the toilets, which is not how you Colorado. There are about 500 cars on the pass every day. That's probably at least 1,000 people who might need to go. The Forest Service is looking to see if there's some sort of partnership they could work on for next year.
Your good news, told at the Denver Botanic Gardens, because that's where we go on the last full day of summer. And Kyle's defense of why the Great American Beer Festival is still actually great. And then his great outtake. That's next.
It's a Friday, and it's the last day of summer, which is great news for those of us who love wearing hoodies. Mine's over in the newsroom. We went in search of your good news in a very summery and fall-like place. Photojournalist Tom Cole went to the Denver Botanic Gardens.
I would describe it as beautiful. The weather's so nice, like the colors, everything is just like so bright and happy. Like we walked in and it's like you're just in a good mood.
It's my first time here, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's so pretty out here.
My good news is that we're at close to the end of the work week, and I'm out here enjoying this beautiful Denver weather.
It's Friday. It's almost the weekend.
Our new nephew was just born 3 weeks ago. Nicolas, he's so cute.
My good news is I'm alive and you're alive.
My good news is that I'm here today with all my parts of my body, happy and exploring the world. Yes, this is my travel buddy.
My name is Celeste.
Yesenia?
She's my little sister. We want our own YouTube channel. She just wants to talk in front of the camera and be cute, and we're funny.
Yeah, we are pretty funny.
Like I'm not
alive. She's funny.
We just newly got engaged earlier this year, so just doing a little bit of traveling.
My good news is today being with my good friends from Colorado Springs, but also to enjoy the good news and the creativity of God himself here in the Botanical Gardens. It's just been a joy to spend the day here.
The most Colorado thing we saw today, Is Loveland Pass turning into Switzerland? Dare I say, Ricola? Gordon Anderson says this man just casually brought out his Alphorn and started playing songs for those who were visiting and driving by. Gordon doesn't know who this man is, but he does know his lungs are pretty strong. Well, the alphabet is big this year at GABF. The brewers are rearranged at the Great American Beer Festival alphabetically as opposed to geographically. Colorado breweries are all spread out, but ironically, Bear and Banded Oak, which are a block away from each other on Broadway, are right next to each other at, let me get this, the American Beer Festival Great, because that would be alphabetical. If you haven't noticed, Kyle's been out this week because beer. He had something he wanted to get off his chest, though.
It's GABF week in Denver, the Great American Beer Festival. The name alone suggests it was always destined to grow, from its small, humble beginnings in Boulder to the now epic event that packs tens and tens of thousands into the Colorado Convention Center. The best things about GABF are the worst things about GABF. It is loud, raucous, crowded, overwhelming, occasionally obnoxious, and it is entirely one of a kind. I've said here before, 11 years after I walked into my first GABF, I still find it entertaining. It is grade A people watching at the very least. Now, I also get that it grates on a lot of traditional craft beer geeks, people who chafe at the pretzel necklaces and the costumes and the general ridiculousness. Yet there's no wishing GABF back in time, back to when it was smaller, more local. It is now what its name has always suggested it would someday be, the day when a niche hobby became a national sensation. The Great American Beer Festival is a great, big, noisy celebration of American craft beer. So whether you're going to partake in the big show or some of the splendid sideshows that have sprung up as a more intimate, less wild way to celebrate craft beer culture, I hope that you will enjoy safely and enjoy also that, love it or hate it, the Great American Beer Festival puts Colorado at the center of the beer scene year after year.
I don't know that I want to drink red and blue beer. A sign that someone who works for CDOT got creative, and your feedback, and this.
Love it or hate it, GA right at the end. Oh, for sake. Oh. 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 I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
It's a sign that I love, spotted by next viewer Cheryl K. This is from I-70. Keep your butts in the car. That's not the funny part. Look at the left. Someone is very artistic over at CDOT. Reminds me of the times I used to put hello on a calculator and then turn it upside down, something like 07734. This made me smile. Give us your signs at next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. Hashtag HeyNext is how I found out that Tony's wife came home with a successful removal of a tumor today. That's great news. Paula, her brother, found a bone marrow donor. He starts his second chance next month. Tracy, it's garbage day, a kid in diapers. The real MVP is the garbage man. And Paul, one of his cataracts has been fixed. So I'm going to take out my glasses and leaf peep with you. See you next time.